Ram, who would forget the
ingredients.
infamous New York Times cartoon mocking India's space science and the progress we had then, and from there to now Chandrayaan 2?
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, these are all sweet. I will call it revenges, but then giving it back in a very polite way. But then, having said that, I think we also need to look at where they are and where we are. We are talking about our Bahubali. We have taken 4,000 tons to a GTO, a geosynchronous transfer orbit. SpaceX is taking about 24,000 kilograms. So we also need to be modest. Yes, we have earned our space at the high table I was talking about of spacefaring nations. We are only the 4th country to land where we are going to do it on September 6th. All fine, but then we do have a long way to go. So let's be modest about it. The scale at which NASA and SpaceX and even ESA, the French, they have been doing the propulsion systems have been far, far superior. If you look at it, 50 years ago, NASA launched Apollo 11, and in 5 days, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin was there on the moon. Michael Collins was there orbiting moon. We are taking 47 days. We are trying to land something. Of course, great. But then there is a huge difference. Even after 50 years, we are taking a sort of baby steps, I would say. But that doesn't take away the greatness what we have developed. Also, indigenous, as we've been talking about, we have had some hand-holding from the Russians. Probably, our whole cryogenic project started in the 1991 with Soviet Russia helping us with the KVD-1 engine. We have learned a lot, but what we have lost out probably also is because the last 10-15 years that we've been slow with developing newer systems. Probably it is also time to look at whether our GSLV should be more power packed. We should be looking at probably 10 tons plus capability if you are looking at serious interplanetary travel as also manned mission. Another aspect we have to keep in mind is that we can be very happy at this moment. At the same time, are we really ready for manned mission? How ready we are getting? That is going to be a very crucial question. So we cannot afford to take chances with manned mission. As you know, we are planning to take 3 astronauts to space. We have to very safely bring them back. So this is going to be a big challenge. So probably GSLV today is a great achievement. GSLV Mark III, the same vehicle which is going to be used for the manned mission, is the same vehicle, the same engine. So this is a great stride we have made. But at the same time, the crew safety, the navigation, we just cannot take chances with the manned mission. So this is a good step, but I think we have a much longer journey to be covered before we can truly say that we are comparable with some other nations. Yes, to start with your question, yes, that mocking cartoon of New York Times we have paid back so dearly, and what else could be a better retort to that Americans have come to launch 100 satellites with us. At one launch, we launched almost 100 small satellites for the Americans. So the world countries, the world nations are lining up in front of ISRO for commercial launches, not just because of our reliability, also our repeatability. It's also because of our affordability with which we have been launching. If you look at the moon missions of the US, of NASA, of ESA, of China, there have been several failures. Our Chandrayaan 1 was a success in the first attempt. So we are making some rapid strides, great strides, but at the same time, let's not lose sight of the slow and arduous journey that we have made and the great leaps we are about to make. I think so it's time to marry modesty with ambition.
I'm sorry there to interrupt you, but I have Rakesh Sharma on the phone line with us. So thank you so much for speaking with us. This is a historic moment for India from the time in 1984 when you were on board the Soyuz to now with this indigenous Chandrayaan 2 that has gone into that is now going to land on moon. How far do you think India's space program has come?
Well, I think it has done very well. It has done so many different things, and only now it's getting ready to get into the manned space flight arena. But from a science standpoint, I think ISRO has done a great job, and today's successful launch has proved that everything is on track.
Right, Mr. Sharma, it's going to take 48 more days for it to actually soft land on the moon there. Do you think it's going to be an anxious 48-day wait for the ISRO scientists there?
I am certain it's going to be an anxious time because there is so much happening in those 48 days while it navigates its way to the moon. There are so many precise maneuvers that need to be executed right on time, and the final descent and the touchdown is all going to be autonomous. So there's a lot of tension, and as Chairman ISRO has described, the last few moments are going to be, he described it that they're going to be sheer terror. Well, that's exactly how those scientists will feel, because we are all going to be waiting to hear about the successful touchdown in an autonomous mode. This time, remember, there's no Armstrong or Aldrin controlling the spacecraft. It's going to do it all on its own.
Yeah, it's going to do all its own, and we are waiting. The ISRO scientists, and it's not just the scientists at ISRO, all of India will be waiting to see what really happens 48 days later. But sir, this is a baby step when we think of going towards Gaganyaan, is what a lot of scientists that we've been talking to are saying. Do you concur?
Well, it depends how you look at it. Yes, Gaganyaan itself, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, but we do have time for that. Apart from the selections, it will be the first time that a human will be riding the spacecraft on our technology. And obviously there are pilot vehicle issues that will need to be addressed. In that sense, I would say that even this particular flight contributes towards it, because the GSLV Mark III has notched up another successful launch, and it's the same launcher that's going to be used for Gaganyaan as well. So it's good statistics.
Right, Mr. Sharma, you've been hearing, we've been getting a lot of callers, a lot of scientists. Everybody in India is congratulating the ISRO scientists that it is a historic feat. What would your message be before I let you go for ISRO, for the scientists, for the way forward?
I am not going to give any message to ISRO except that I hope, and I am sure in fact, that they will continue on their successful trajectory, because they have worked so hard all these years, and all their internal processes are matured to an extent that they could successful launch. So really, nobody can tell ISRO how to do anything better than they are doing it.
Right, Mr. Sharma, thank you so much for speaking with us here on Times Now. That was Rakesh Sharma, first Indian ever to be in space. He was on board the Soyuz in 1984. He there saying this is the way forward in India's space program. We have a lot of callers calling in. Our phones are buzzing there in the newsroom. People calling in to wish the scientists at ISRO. My first caller now, Varalakshmi, calling in from Bengaluru. What is your message?
I'm Varalakshmi from Mumbai.
Yes, Varalakshmi, go ahead.
Yeah, Varalakshmi from Mumbai. It's a very, very proud moment. I congratulate all the ISRO scientists, particularly Dr. Shivan. Now it's like Lord Shiva reaching to the moon, you can say.
Right, thank you so much for calling in. Brijesh is also calling us. Sir, yes, go ahead with your message.
Good afternoon, everybody. Brijesh here from Raichur, Karnataka.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Yeah, kudos to ISRO and kudos to India. I have only one thing to say. हम हो गए कामयाब, हम हो गए कामयाब, हम हो गए कामयाब आज फिर से. ओहो मन में था विश्वास, पूरा था विश्वास, हम हो गए कामयाब फिर से. Thank you ISRO, thank you India. I love this. I have goosebumps telling this. It's a real successful moment. Kudos to everyone. Thank you Times Now for this. Happy moment, very happy moment to India.
Thank you, Brijesh, for calling in. It is indeed a very happy moment for all of India. Mala calling in from Bengaluru now. Yes, Mala, go on.
लो हम बहुत खुश हैं आज की खबर देखकर, और हम अपनी तरफ से बधाई देते हैं पूरे इसरो को, एवं हमारे फैमिली की तरफ से भी हम बधाई दे रहे हैं. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Yes, Mala, thank you so much for joining us here on Times Now. Viewers are calling in. You can call us. The numbers are flashing on your screens. Call us and tell us how you feel, how proud you feel of ISRO, of the country. Like one viewer summed up some time ago, when India decides to do something, it may take some time, but it's just a matter of time before we actually fulfill it. And with Chandrayaan 2, ISRO has once again proven that. My guests continue to be with me. Dr. Chaitanya Giri, coming to you now. Is this going to be a baby step when it comes to Gaganyaan? Do we still have a lot of challenges? It's not going to be a cakewalk really, is what a lot of people believe. Do you concur?
Yeah, I do. I mean, look, Chandrayaan and Gaganyaan are two different types of space missions. Where Chandrayaan is a robotic space mission where you don't have to worry about the safety and security of life. With Gaganyaan, the safety and security of the 3 astronauts will be of prime importance. But having said that, like one of my colleagues on the panel said that the GSLV is yet to mature into a human-rated rocket. That remains a fact. With 4 tons, the GSLV is not sufficient enough to compete with many other rockets that are currently carrying humans into space. So the GSLV's capacity needs to ramp up from its existing 4 tons to say at least 10 tons, and for that you need better engines, better cryogenics, more superior boosters, more superior third stage of the rocket, and the capsule also needs to be tested. So as per the plans, there is an intention to test the space capsule that would carry the astronauts without the astronauts per se, and once that kind of test happens, it will become clearer whether we can really carry astronauts into space. But mind you, Gaganyaan is an orbital space flight mission. The 3 astronauts will go only around the Earth's orbit. We must also prepare to take humans to the moon, and for that we need superior rockets. So this is a baby step. GSLV is the first in the league of its category, and we must go on to build superior rockets. If it takes collaboration from the private sector, India must pursue it.
Right, it's interesting that you bring about the private sector there. Earlier also you were mentioning that only because it's indigenous, it does not necessarily have to mean that it is government funded. It could come from the private sector. A lot of other countries like the United States, a lot of private investment there, a lot of private investors themselves are looking at this, but in India so far we haven't seen that.
Yes, we haven't seen that primarily because ISRO tends to use private sector in 2 ways. One, in which it procures the component that it requires from the private sector. So it is just a purchaser of equipments coming from the industry. And in the second case, it is spinning off the technologies that ISRO has created in the house, and it spins off. It tries to sell it off to the private sector so that that technology is commercialized. But we haven't utilized the third way of utilizing, we haven't really exploited that. And the third way is to incentivize the private sector to get into manufacturing of rockets. Now rockets are, it's been what, 60 years since we've started flying into space, and it's more or less a space proven technology. Let it go to the private sector and allow the space agency to focus more on high risk, high reward science rather than doing mundane things. Rocketry at this point of time is mundane.
Right, rocketry is, yeah, it is mundane right now. We have to look at greater technology. It is a matter of time, like a lot of our viewers were believing that, it is, if हमने कुछ ठान लिया, तो if India decides that we have to do it, if ISRO decides, maybe it will take some time, but we will eventually get there. Our viewers are calling in. My guests, I request you all to stay with me. Anil is calling in from Kollam. Yes, Anil, go ahead.
Yeah, it gives me immense pressure. That is, hats off to this ISRO team. I'm really happy to see that it is successful, and really proud to be an Indian. I'm really thankful to the ISRO team and the satellite which is going, and success is always with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling in. Anil, Uma calling in from Mumbai now. Yes, Uma, go on.
Yeah, it is a fantastic feat by our ISRO scientists and totally indigenous. Wow, really, words fail me at this point of time. I feel more than the government, the private industries should also take interest and contribute to our space program so that India can take further giant steps into space technology.
Right, Uma, thank you so much. Maybe it is time for India to look beyond just the government when it comes to their space program. Mahesh also calling in. Yes, Mahesh, go on.
Yes, I'm calling from Kodagu.
Yes, sir, go
I'd
on.
like to congratulate ISRO and scientists for taking the dream of the final frontier to space. I've been a big Star Trek fan and a Star Wars fan for many years now, and to see
We are getting some breaking news coming in here on the Chandrayaan mission itself. Now, Congress has taken to Twitter with its offhanded comment, so to say. Now, it says that this is a good time to remember that the visionary move of India's first Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, to fund the space research program. Now, this comes at a time when ISRO has just less than an hour ago, just about an hour ago, sent Chandrayaan 2. Chandrayaan 2 has taken off, and now Congress is taking the time out not to congratulate our scientists for the feat that they have achieved, but to actually remind them that it was Congress leaders who had really given this impetus to India's space research program. Samya, my colleague, is now joining me on the phone line. Samya, the timing is really off, isn't it? This comment from the Congress was really unwarranted for.
Yes, as far as the Congress party is concerned, they're definitely lauding this entire achievement of ISRO, saying that it's a massive victory for India in the right direction when it comes to space missions. But to try and attribute the credit to the Indian government, as far as Narendra Modi government is concerned, the Congress party is really hesitant. Over here, their official Twitter handle had put out a tweet saying that it's a good time to remember the visionary Jawaharlal Nehru, and who had started this entire mission. And if I can quote that tweet directly, the Congress has posted saying that this is a good time to remember the visionary move of India's first Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, to fund a space research through INCOSPAR in 1962, which later became ISRO, and also Dr. Manmohan Singh for sanctioning the Chandrayaan 2 project in 2008. That is the big argument that the Congress party leaders are giving right now, that it was in 2008 during UPA government that Dr. Manmohan Singh had given a sanction for Chandrayaan 2. It only took a due course of time that it was launched today. And it will be unfair to attribute the credit to Modi government, where it was done, maximum work for it was done during the UPA government's time. So clearly another flashpoint between the government and the Congress party per se. The Congress party is definitely saying that it is entirely to the due credit of the ISRO scientists and not to a political party per se.
Right, Samya, stay with me now. It is really an offhanded comment that we're seeing in from the Congress. BJP Subramanian Swamy now joining me on the phone line, sir. Sir, this is a time when all of India is applauding the scientists at ISRO for this historic feat. But Congress has decided to take this time out to remind how it was in fact Congress leaders who gave an impetus to the space program of the country. Mr. Swamy, can you hear me? I believe we do not have Subramanian Swamy on the phone line, but this is a tweet that is coming in from the Congress party there. Not only have they applauded the ISRO scientists, but made a comment that was really uncalled for. They decided it was time to remind the current dispensation that it was indeed their legacy, the space research program that India has. With that, we're slipping into a very short break here on Times Now. I thank all the viewers who've called in to wish the ISRO scientists and my panelists who've joined us, taken their time out. Thank you so much for joining us. We're taking a short break, but we'll be back with more. Stay tuned.